What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. So it's that time again, time for the big rivalry game. Michigan State versus that school down the road, Friday night, 8 o'clock on Fox in the Breslin Center for this rivalry game. Now, obviously, this is a big one coming in the rivalry. Michigan State has won 4 straight in this one, have not lost at home since 2018 in this rivalry, but we'll need to do a lot of things right on Friday night, play a lot better than they played Tuesday night at Rutgers in order to win this game against against a team in that school down the road that has had a really good year this year. They're coming in 19-1, 9-1 overall in the conference. Their only loss all year, conference or otherwise, was a 91-88 loss at home against Wisconsin. So they have a pretty impressive resume overall. Wins on the road at TCU early in the year. Beat, at the time, 21st ranked Auburn. We've talked about in some other videos. Don't think Auburn is, Final Four worthy type of good this year, but still a solid win. And then an absolute blowout, 40-point blowout of number 12 Gonzaga. At the time, obviously Gonzaga top 10 right now. Just throughout the year, they have had solid wins in the Big Ten. They had a nice win against Indiana, 14 points. Indiana starting to play better overall. Besides that, they just got, obviously, the big win against Nebraska, number 5, obviously, right now, and at the time was 20-0 going into that game, was Nebraska. And, not making excuses, but Nebraska was down 2 of their best players in that game, so that game gives credit Nebraska for making it close, but still, Nebraska came to play, and credit that school down the road. They made enough plays to win that game. They were down a lot in that game, was able to come back, make enough plays, specifically in that second half, to win that game. So I have to give credit where credit is due there. So before we do jump into this matchup, if you could just hit that like and subscribe button down there. We'll have more Michigan State basketball content on the channel, so just make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. So jumping into the roster for that school down the road, Yaxel Lendenborg, obviously the big transfer wing for them, was projected to go, I think back end of the lottery, for sure a first round pick, but decides to come to the school down the road for his last year of college, more than likely here. And you never know how many years anyone really has anymore, but he has been everything that they were looking for on the wing this year. 14 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, steal, a block on the year. Good from the field, 50%. 30% from 3. Doesn't, it shoots a decent amount of them. He's shot 89 on the year, which is tied for the most with Trey McKinney. Get to him in a second here, but 30%, a little bit below, I'd say, where average is or where you'd want to be, but he's been all over the place for them. He's going to be a tough matchup on the wing for any team in this country. So that'll definitely be a matchup to look for in this one. Perez Johnson Jr., he was absolutely loved his stuff last year at Illinois, and, really hated when he landed at this school down the road, because I think he, for his career, is going to be an incredible player. And you're seeing that so far this year as well. 14 points, 7 rebounds, a block on the year. And, he's actually stepped out and made a few threes this year, 5 threes on the year, 5 for 12, 42% just about on the year. But really the combination of him and Adai Mara coming in 11 points and 7 rebounds and about 3 blocks on the year for him. And both of them, Perez Johnson shooting 69% and Adai Mara shooting 69% from the field as well. So very efficient. And their top 3 guys all coming in, averaging double digits, 14, 14, 11, but they're all grabbing 7 rebounds as well. Really good rebounding team. Get to more of that stuff here in a second. But those 3 are kind of the, kind of staples of what I think this team is. And next up is the guards. Elliot Cadeau, obviously coming over from North Carolina. He's had a solid enough year. 10 points on the year, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, about a steal on the year, steal per game on the year. Solid from 3, 41%. I'd say in terms of volume and attempts, he's probably their most efficient 3-point shooter. The next guy we'll talk about, Trey McKinney, obviously a guy, if you remember in recruiting cycles, that Michigan State was heavy on for a while, but then it seemed like it wasn't going that direction, and he obviously ends up at that school down the road there. But he's had a solid freshman year. 10 points, about 3 rebounds so far in the year. Surprised the assists aren't more. He's only averaging about 1 assist. I do think he's a solid passer overall, but he's a really good scorer. Overall, we saw that in high school, 36% from three, and he's tied with Yaxel for their most 3-point attempts on the year. They both have attempted 89 on the year. He's at 36%, as I said, on the year. So, in terms of volume and percentage, solid. I'd say Cadeau a little bit better in that category, even though a little bit less in terms of attempts, but solid. And then you go to Damari Burnett, 9 points on the year per game, about 3 rebounds on the year, 37% from three. He's shot quite a bit as well, 79 on the year. So they can shoot the ball, solidly well. They don't shoot a whole lot, kind of, towards the top half or so of the country. But we'll get to more of that here in a minute. Roddy Gale Jr. Coming in, same thing, about 9 points a game, about 3 rebounds on the year. LJ Kaysen, 7 points. Will Shetter, back for his 15th year of college, 5 points on the year, about 2 rebounds. And that's kind of the main kind of rotation for everyone. And kind of, I think something that really benefits them, and obviously a lot of that is due to, especially during the first part of the year, as they were blowing so many teams out, is the fact that they've been able to keep everyone. Like Yaxel is their, best player, obviously. So most minutes, he's averaging about 27, 28 minutes a game. That's pretty solid. That's not saying that these guys can't play, 34, 35 minutes, like will probably be needed in a rivalry game. But, I think that's good. That's good for them, especially long term during the course of a long and difficult, Big Ten season. So when you look at them overall as a team, about 91 points a game, that's good for ninth in the country. So top 10 there in scoring. They're 10th in the country in terms of rebounds per game, 42 per game, 19 assists. They average about 7 steals a game, 6 blocks as well. They turn it over about 13 times, 52% from the field, 72% from the free throw line, and about 35% from the 3-point line. They're 50th in assist to turnover ratio, 21st in bench points. You see that with kind of their scoring spread out as well. 47th in fast break points, 26 free throw attempts. They average about 26 a game. As we mentioned, 10th in rebounds per game. And then 3-point attempts per game, they're 84th. So we said kind of more towards the top half at 27 per game. Good balance there as well, getting about 26 free throws a game, about 27 3-pointers a game. They're 128th in turnovers forced per game at about 13 a game, and they're 254th in turnovers per game at 13th per game. So they turn people over about 13 times a game, and they turn it over themselves about 13 times a game. So definitely something to watch there, and kind of just the general overview for that school down the road as we head into this big rivalry matchup. And obviously, this is the first meeting of two for these teams playing each other this year, play on the last day of the regular season as well. But I definitely think that this can kind of shift the tone a little bit, or kind of, they're tied. These two teams are tied at the top of the Big Ten with Nebraska as well. Other teams are right there as well. Other teams are in the race. So and we're still early on. Still have a little over a month, about a month and a half left in this regular season race. But I do think this is a chance for both of these teams to make an early statement. About halfway through, getting to the, starting the back half of, or the second half, should I say, of Big Ten play. And this is a chance to get that off to a good start. Towards the end of January here, getting into February when things really get real. Schedules for both of these teams really do pick up here over the next month. Obviously, if this game, that school down the road, they still got Purdue coming up in a couple weeks on the road. I know they're a little bit on on a tough struggle right now, but they're still a tough place to play. That one's on the road too. They do play Duke as well. They play Indiana on the road again as well. Iowa on the road, never easy. And then obviously our second matchup of the season with them coming down the line too. But in this one for Michigan State, we talked about a lot about their three, big main scoring, threats in this one in terms of Yaxel, in terms of Adaimara and in terms of Perez Johnson. Now, I do think that that's when you look at how they score a lot of their points. I mean, they're number one in 2 point field goal percentage for a reason. Still solid from the 3 point land, 153rd, 3 point percentage. That's decent enough, but they want to get to the paint. They want to get to the rim, shoot 2 point shots, and with their size and their length, they definitely can do that, and they've done that, all year. So that'll definitely be a challenge, and I think that's a challenge that Michigan State is up for. So for Michigan State in this one, I think kind of similar, like different kind of play styles, I guess, in terms of what they did last year. Obviously, last year they had the two big lineup with Vlad and Wolf as well. So similar-ish, but not really the same. But still definitely presents its challenges. But in this game, defensively, both Jax, Coop, Cam Ward's gonna have to play bigger than his size in this one. I think Jesse McCullough, when you get in, is gonna have to play big and tough down there. But I do think that this is probably a big Carson Cooper game, especially on the defensive end. Gonna have his hands full. Jax as well, and Cam. Like I said, I really think Cam. I think especially Cam just seems like he has that thing for these big game moments. We saw that his second regular season college game against Arkansas, big time game at home in the Brez. We saw what he was able to do in that game. Probably still to this day, probably his best game so far. I know he had the wrist injury, throughout the season so far, but I'm definitely looking for Cam Ward off the bench to step up in those big matchups. But I am really curious about the wing matchup against Yaxel, and it's obviously like, hey, probably throwing Cohen on him, but Cohen's not going to be out there. We talked about the averages in this game, but we know that, minute averages, should I say, but we know this is a rivalry game that not going to be playing 25 minutes, 27 minutes. No, these guys are going to be out there 30, 34 minutes, 35 minutes, barring that it's a close game. So, when Cohen's not on the floor, who picks him up? Is it, Jordan Scott, the freshman who has had good moments and in big games has had good moments as well this season. Look at Arkansas, look at Duke. He had big time games in those. I'm just curious about the size in that matchup. So I'm curious if they do something kind of funky with those lineups. Say when Cohen's off the floor and maybe Yaxel's in there. Maybe if Yaxel's playing the 4, do you maybe put Coop on him, given his size and his length, to try to slow him down and his mobility? So I am curious how that works out. But I do think kind of, obviously it's something we talk about every game, but obviously I think in this one specifically, when you're playing another really good rebounding team, that they are, I mean, I think attacking the glass is going to be even more paramount in this one, clearing the glass, getting out in transition, because as we're looking at them, this is a battle of the top two defenses in the country. 1 and 2, whatever metrics you look at, it's both of these teams. So definitely points. I definitely think take the under in this one. Even though the school down the road, solid, highly ranked offensively, I think Michigan State's proven they're the best defense in the sport, especially over these last handful of weeks. So, yeah, I definitely think if you're a betting person, take the under in this one. But, when you look at that school down the road, we talked about their offensive numbers, but defensively, 3-point percentage, defense 39th in the country, but they are second in 2-point defense. So, Michigan State, I think a couple of the key big team things in this one is rebounding, getting out on fast breaks to not let them set up their defense and get easy 2-point buckets. Because when you're in the half court, I don't think the 2-point buckets are going to come easy in this one. But as well, even though they're a good 3-point defensive team, with their length and whatnot that they can, throw out there, going to have to hit down some shots, some threes in this one to win this game. And I think that's something that we've seen Michigan State be able to do this year, definitely better than last year, and it's something that they've improved on throughout the year as well. So those are some things looking at. Obviously, everything starts and ends with Jeremy Fears and how everything's playing and how he's played over the last couple weeks. We talked about it in the recap for the Rutgers game on Tuesday, but he's playing like a all Big Ten player. He's playing like an All American, in my opinion. He's playing like the best point guard in the country as of right now over the last handful of weeks. So, coming off of his two best, especially statistical games, and probably his best games overall in his career over the last two games. Now, that has to continue in this big time rivalry game at home. And if he can do that, and kind of similar to the beginning of last year, if he can just kind of grab control of the game early, both controlling the flow, like, not having good, clean offensive possessions, but also on the defensive side of things, helping control things, but also the environment. I mean, in these rivalry matchups, home court and, the atmosphere, crowd, everything, those are big. So controlling, the important stuff on the court, yes, but also, setting that up to get the crowd, which will already be into it. It's going to be an amazing atmosphere in the Brez on Friday night, but, getting them in, like, look at the beginning. You were 40 seconds into the game last year where, there was that kind of outlet pass that Jeremy stole, then threw it off their player, and then was kind of in his face, and then Izzo's getting to him, and then getting the crowd going. Like, that needs to happen early to create that early run. We've talked about slow starts on the year for Michigan State, and that's something that you can't have in this one against a really good team like that. And in a rivalry game, you do not want to be fighting uphill. So something got to get out to a fast start in this one, but really as well. And a lot of this, and like a lot of big time rivalry games like this, and you look at Michigan State teams overall, it comes down to your four captains as well. Well, we talked about the importance of Jeremy Fears, but Jackson Kohler, he's been solid, since that West Coast road trip, the home game, and then on the road at Rutgers as well. But really, he has struggled from three since coming back from the West Coast, and I believe seen some stuff. I believe he was sick or under the weather, so that more than likely has some to do with some of the struggles. But it would be real nice if at home against your rival, big time moments, can kind of find that 3-point shot back in this one. And he's not going to need that. Not just going to need that. He's also going to need to be able to clean the glass in this one. We talked about how important that is, but him and funneling into Carson Cooper, how important he's been on the glass, but the importance that he's had, this season scoring the ball as well. If they will probably, due to Mara's length, especially find creative ways to get him to the lobs. We've seen, other times against bigs that, they maybe prevented Michigan State from getting those lobs to Coop with good interior defense. We've seen him be able to step out, hit those mid-range jumpers. We saw him hit the three just 2 games ago as well. Now, I don't think the game plan should be drawing up 3 to 4 3-point attempts for Coop, but, just knowing that's an option, and given how good that he already is in terms of facilitating, kind of being a hub at the top of the offense for this team, I think that'll be something to definitely look at, and will be important in this one. And then Cohen Carr, the strides that he's continuing to make. I mean, listen, if some of those plays and shots didn't happen for Cohen in that game on Tuesday at Rutgers, we're coming into this game off a loss and feeling a lot differently, coming off a bad loss, coming into a rivalry game. So he made so many plays, and he's continuing to do that. That was kind of what Izzo kind of talked about it as well. Like, maybe not happening as fast as he wants it to, as fast as Izzo wants it to, or anyone wants it to, but slowly getting there. You're seeing his confidence grow. It started kind of with him dribbling into the paint, the game where the team just wasn't guarding him in the first half at three, and, kind of all those mental gymnastics that you have to get through. Him being able to dribble into the paint, finish through contact at the rim, and all that started with that. Then it started with him dribbling kind of into that corner mid-range, pull-up 2-point shot. Then that kind of started going down, and now you're seeing, getting a little more confident with that 3-point shot going down as well. Again, not saying we want him shooting, or drawing up 4 to 7 3-point Cohen attempts, but get up 2, 3, maybe 4, and if you can make, 2 of them, and hey, things are looking good, and those are big momentum shifters as well for this team. But as well, just kind of harping on it as well, talked about the freshmen too. I do think the freshmen are going to have some big time moments in this game as well. The two guard position, we've seen Divine hit the big shot last game. He's hit big shots throughout the year as well. From three, shooting it really solidly. One of the leaders on the team in terms of percentage from three, Kurt Tang. We know how good he can shoot it. It's just the other stuff in this game why I think it'll be a lot of Divine, a lot of Jordan at the two in this game. Yes, we know how good Kurt can shoot it, but with I think how much of a defensive game this will be. I think we'll see a lot of Divine. I think we'll see a lot of Jordan at the two. We'll see some of Jordan, I think, at the three to give, Cohen some minutes. But yeah, it's going to take everyone in this game absolutely to come away with a big time rivalry win. Now, when you look at Bart Torvik, they do have that school down the road as the number one team in the country currently. Coming into this one, the AP has them at the number 3 team, adjusted efficiency offense number 5. Bart Torvik has them as number 1 adjusted efficiency defense. And when you look at Michigan State, currently Bart Torvik has them as number 12. AP poll has Michigan State at number 7 currently. Now, 51st adjusted efficiency offense. Bart Torvik has them 2nd adjusted efficiency defense. Like I said, 1, 2 defense, whatever you look at it. Ken Palm, I believe, still has Michigan State as the number 1 defensive team. And they do, just verifying that. But Bart Torvik has this as a 73-71 Michigan State loss in this one. So, look, we've talked about it up and down throughout this one. Obviously, Michigan State winners of 7 straight, school down the road, winners of 5 straight. Overall, in the rivalry, Michigan State has won 4 straight, hasn't lost at home in this rivalry since 2018, but this is a battle with 2 teams tied atop of the Big Ten standing. So a lot on the line, not just, the rivalry game stuff, but, Big Ten regular season, championship aspirations and, seedings, put yourself in a better position as well. But then even looking a month from now into March Madness, a big time, obviously quad 1 opportunity for both of these teams. So Michigan State, it's going to take everything and the crowd as well. I mean, I expect, seeing the rally towels already out there, I expect the Breslin Friday night, 8 o'clock to be rocking and going to need it in this one for sure, like it always is for a rivalry game. But definitely for the team overall, it's going to take everyone, as we said, attacking the glass, defend, rebound, run, knock down smoking shots, and big time rivalry game in this one. Absolutely looking forward to it. Absolutely cannot wait to get in the Brez tomorrow night for this one. So anyway, that'll do it for this one. We will obviously be back to recap this one after the game. So that'll do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.